Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to absolutely shatter the illusion of celebrity wealth. We're going to expose the brutal, unseen financial machinery that is hiding right behind all the glamour of the music industry. You know, we constantly see the private jets, the sold-out stadiums, the massive record sales. But what goes on behind closed doors in the accounting rooms? Well, that is often a completely different and, frankly, a pretty terrifying story.
So, let's just dive right into this massive paradox. I want you to imagine this for a second. You've sold over 60 million records worldwide. You're winning Grammys left and right. You are literally part of the best-selling female group in US history. So how on earth does a group at the absolute peak of their career end up with absolutely nothing? I mean, it defies all logic, right? Well, it does until you look at the system they're forced to operate within.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 6 key areas: the celebrity wealth illusion, the music industry debt trap, TLC and systemic exploitation, the rise of 360 deals, lifestyle creep and betrayal, and finally, breaking the cycle today.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the celebrity wealth illusion, and that massive disconnect between public perception and private reality. The harsh reality of this illusion was actually confirmed by Chili from TLC right after winning a Grammy. I really want you to think about this. The fans who are saving up their hard-earned paychecks to buy these CDs literally had more money in their personal bank accounts than the global superstars creating the music. It's just a stunning admission, and it completely cracks the facade of fame wide open. To understand exactly how this happens, we need to move to Section 2, the music industry debt trap. We really need to look at the predatory math underlying this whole business.
The absolute crucial point here is understanding a terrifying little word: cross-collateralization. Now, when a young, struggling artist gets a $50,000 or even $1 million advance, they naturally think they've won the lottery. But guys, it isn't a payday, it's a loan. And the label starts clawing that money back exclusively from the artist's tiny, tiny sliver of future profits. If one album doesn't pay it off, that debt just rolls right over to the next one, and the next, creating this inescapable trap.
Let's actually look at this brutal math in action, because it's wild. Say you get $1 million advance. Your album sells incredibly well and generates $1 million in revenue. You're clear, right? Nope, wrong. In a standard contract, the artist might only get a 15% royalty cut. So out of that $1 million, your share is only $150,000, which means you still owe the label $850,000. Meanwhile, the label keeps the remaining 85%, fully recoups their costs, and leaves the artist drowning in debt. Oh, and by the way, they also tack the costs of music videos, studio sessions, and marketing right onto your tab.
Let's apply this financial lens to a real-world autopsy in Section 3, TLC and systemic exploitation. This is a true case study in failure.
The contrast here is absolutely shocking. TLC achieved massive global success. Their album Crazy Sexy Cool sold 14 million copies in its release year alone. But the reality? T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili earned a devastatingly low $50,000 each for that success. They were hit with an absolute mountain of hidden fees, insurance claims, and unrecouped expenses, which drove them $3.5 million into debt. It literally forced them to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy at the absolute peak of their fame.
It is a complete gut punch when you realize the sheer scale of this exploitation. Over 5 years, TLC generated roughly $175 million. The band members walked away with just 1% of that? 1%! How does that even happen? Well, they were caught in this crazy, unethical web. Their manager, Pebbles, and their label, LaFace Records, had a massive conflict of interest. They were even using the same lawyers. The management took a cut before the label did, essentially stealing from them, and charged every single flight, hotel, and meal against the girl's tiny 7% royalty rate. At one point, TLC even had to pay $3 million just to buy back the rights to their own name. And as the internet disrupted everything, the traps just evolved. This brings us to Section 4, the rise of 360 deals, where labels started profiting from literally everything. So around 2009, physical CD sales just fell off a cliff, and labels completely panicked. To maintain their massive profit margins, they introduced the 360 deal. This meant they were demanding a piece of everything an artist touched: concerts, t-shirts, publishing, basically revenue streams that labels traditionally had absolutely nothing to do with. Rapper Lupe Fiasco bravely refused to sign this new predatory contract. And in retaliation, Atlantic Records literally held his life's work hostage. They refused to release his finished album, Lasers. Even after fans protested outside the label's headquarters, he was still forced to compromise and record a pre-produced, highly commercial radio single just to get his own art released to the world.
But hey, it's not always just the label pulling the strings. That leads us to Section 5, lifestyle creep and betrayal, and the extreme dangers of trusting the wrong people.
This staggering number, $1 million, was MC Hammer's monthly payroll. Yeah, monthly. While some artists are robbed by contracts, Hammer fell victim to sudden wealth syndrome. He made $33 million in 1991, but he immediately bought a $30 million house. He also wanted to give back to his community, which is great, but he did it so aggressively that he employed over 200 people from his neighborhood. When his popularity naturally dipped, the math just couldn't work anymore. He ended up $10 million in debt and bankrupt by 1996. It's basically a textbook case of uncontrolled lifestyle creep.
Now, on the flip side, we have country legend Willie Nelson. He didn't blow his money on mansions. The professionals he hired to protect him just entirely dropped the ball. His financial management firm completely failed to pay his taxes. So in 1990, the IRS seized everything he owned, claiming he owed $20 million. But what's truly incredible about this story is his unique redemption arc. Instead of giving up, he actually recorded an album called The IRS Tapes, Who'll Buy My Memories. His fans rallied, bought his auctioned items, gave them back to him, and by 1993, through sheer hard work, he paid off the government in full. But even seasoned legends aren't safe from the people closest to them. Billy Joel ordered an audit after 10 years and found out his manager, Frank Weber, was giving out unauthorized loans and double billing him for music videos. This left Joel with a $5 million IRS debt. Then you have Leonard Cohen. His manager, who was also his romantic partner, stole over $5 million from his retirement fund and sold off his publishing rights. Cohen was left with just $100,000 to his name and was forced to go back on grueling world tours at the age of 73 just to survive.
So, looking at these historical autopsies, we have to ask in Section 6, breaking the cycle today, how do modern artists actually survive this gauntlet?
When we pull all these case studies together, the overarching themes of why artists go broke become pretty crystal clear. First, it's a severe lack of financial literacy right at the start of their careers. Second, it's that sudden wealth syndrome that leads to excessive spending. Third, it's blind trust in managers without any independent oversight. And fundamentally, it's signing away the master rights to their own music. That means the label earns money off their art forever, while the artist is left penniless.
Today, we are seeing some artists fighting back, most notably Taylor Swift. When she couldn't buy her master recordings from Big Machine Records and Scooter Braun, she decided to just re-record her entire catalog. But here is the critical takeaway for us. Taylor is the exception, not the rule. She had the massive financial resources, the industry contacts, and the sheer power to pull that off. Most young artists have absolutely none of those resources, which means they are often trapped paying for the mistakes of their youth for the rest of their lives.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought to consider the very next time you stream your favorite song or go to a concert. In a system this heavily rigged, where the creators are treated like literal lines on a spreadsheet, who really owns the art we consume and who is truly paying the price for the music we love? Thanks so much for watching this explainer. Until next time, stay curious.